Tomorrow, my boyfriend is going to ask me to marry him, and I'm going to say no. I found the ring last Tuesday. I was putting away his laundry, and his winter jacket slipped off a hanger. When I picked it up, something hard knocked against my knuckle. Inside pocket, velvet box. I stood there in our closet holding it for a good minute before I opened it. It's beautiful. That's the worst part. It's exactly what I would have picked. He pays attention like that. He always has. But my stomach didn't flip the way it's supposed to. There were no butterflies. Just this cold, heavy feeling, like I'd swallowed a stone. I put the box back exactly how I found it, angled the same way, zipped the pocket, hung the jacket. Then I went downstairs and smiled through dinner like nothing happened. We've been together 4 years. On paper, he's perfect. He remembers my coffee order. My mom already calls him her son. My dad watches games with him. My little sister asks about him before she asks about me. At every family gathering, someone pulls me aside to tell me how lucky I am. Nobody sees the rest of it. Nobody sees the 20 texts I get if I grab coffee with a coworker. Nobody sees him surprising me at girls' night, showing up with some excuse about dropping off my charger, then scanning the room to see who's there. Nobody knows that last month he went through my phone while I was asleep, then woke me up at 3 a.m., holding it in my face, asking who a guy from high school was. A guy I haven't spoken to in 6 years. He'd scrolled back that far. Nobody knows I quietly stopped going to work happy hours because the fight afterward was never worth it. Or that my best friend stopped inviting me places because I said, let me check one too many times. And we both knew what that meant. It didn't start like this. The first year, I mistook it all for devotion. He texted good morning before my alarm went off. He wanted to know everything about my day. It felt like being chosen. It took me way too long to learn that being chosen and being watched can feel identical from the inside. Every time he had the same explanation. He's protective. He's been hurt before. He just loves me so much. And every time I told myself the same thing. Once he feels secure, he'll relax. Once he really believes I'm not going anywhere, this will stop. Then I opened that box and it all clicked at once. He's not waiting to feel secure. Marriage is the security. The ring isn't a promise. It's a law. I sat with that for a week. I barely slept. I wrote everything down in my journal just to get it out of my head. The same journal I've kept since college. I looked up apartments on my lunch breaks. I moved a little money into a separate account, not because I think he'd take anything, but because I've read enough stories to know you plan for the version of someone you haven't met yet. Then I found out from his sister that tomorrow is the day. Dinner reservation, both families on standby for a surprise gathering, after public proposal, everyone watching, everyone filming. There was no version of that where I could say no without it becoming the story our families tell forever. So tonight, I sat him down before he could set any of it in motion. My sister knew what I was doing just in case. My hands were shaking under the table. I told him I found the ring. I told him it's beautiful. And I told him my answer was going to be no. I braced for the yelling. That's the pattern. Something threatens him, he gets loud. Instead, he went completely quiet. He looked at the table for a long time. Then he gave me this small, tired smile I've never seen on him before and said, I know, I've known for months. I asked him what that meant. He said he read my journal back in March, not once. He said he checked it every so often. He knew I was pulling away before I fully knew it myself. He knew about the money. He knew about the apartment listings I'd bookmarked. He listed it all off like items on a receipt. Calm, almost gentle. I asked him why he never said anything. Why he let me walk around for months thinking my thoughts were still mine. And then he said the sentence I haven't stopped hearing since. I figured if I got the ring on your finger fast enough, you'd stop looking for the door. Not, I wanted to spend my life with you. Not, I couldn't imagine losing you. A strategy, a timeline. He saw me slipping, so he priced out a family heirloom and booked a restaurant and put both of our families on standby because a wife is harder to lose than a girlfriend. I keep thinking about how guilty I felt for finding that ring. Like I'd ruined some magical surprise. There was no surprise. There was never going to be a question mark at the end of it. He knew my answer before I did. He read it in my own handwriting, in my own journal, and instead of asking me what was wrong, he went shopping for something to hold me in place. Tomorrow was never a question. It was a lock.